Okay, for this lesson, what I'm going to continue doing is going to be adding more detail onto the Pokeball, and I'm just gonna be refining the details here, and not gonna be using a lot of new tools here. What I want to is really just create this button on the front, so I'm going to be selecting these faces once again, deselect them on the last one. So here, want to make sure those are the faces, the only faces that I have available. I'm not selecting anything else, and everything seems perfectly fine. So the next thing that I want to do is do another extrusion, and this time around I want to extrude that information of the buttons. Now, come to think about it, the way that I selected this is not going to let me do these find button refine here on the side. So probably what I want to do is insert another edge loop here that is going to show me that information. Actually, you know what? Let's try doing something else. I'm gonna deselect these ones. I'm just gonna have this button on the front, and I'm going to move it forward. Yeah, it seems to be the right size, so that's perfect. Now, what I want to is do another extrusion, Control E, and I'll push it forward a little bit like that. That is going to create that sort of lip. But now, as you can see, it doesn't completely fit my reference image. See, there seems to be like an indentation going on here. One thing that I can do is just double click this edge. That is going to go all the way around the edge. See, working with quads is the best thing that you can do. Now, what I'm going to do is push these guys a little bit back so it is almost flat. And now that I have that, notice that this shape is in a great position. This vertex is actually a little bit exaggerated, so I'm gonna select this vertex. See, it's more like pointy and I don't want it that way. I'm just gonna move a little bit behind. That is going to help me make it look round. Perfect. Now what I want here is to make sure that I have this indentation. Do you see that? So what I'm going to do is going to go to my multi-cut tool, and this one I'll probably eyeball. There's not a lot of information in my reference image to work with in the first place, so yeah, that cut over there seems fine. Notice that it's also going into a skew angle. Probably what I want to do is now reselect the edge that I just created and then scale it up. That way it is going to be a little bit more flat. Kind of complicated here. You go. Almost there, getting there, getting there. It's the best that it will go, actually. Yeah, there we go. So now that I have that, I created this little bevel here because not totally necessary, but I kind of like adding a little bit more detail. If I scale down, then this is going to be messed up. But if I say Control E and once again do an internal loop, that is going to add that lip here, which is, you know, pretty neat. Now it's going inwards in this way, which I totally don't love, so I'm just going to expand the selection. I'm going to go to my edge selection, and unfortunately it's going to be inside, which is going to be really hard to select from these views. So let's see if I can access that from here. Pushing my luck. There you go, perfect. So I'm gonna go here to the front, and I'm going to just push it this way, so it's kind of flat. And probably I want to scale this one up as well, so it does look like a button. That's great, that's great. Okay, so that is it for that. If I select this edge, let's see what will I delete the profile somewhat, but looks good enough. Okay, so that is it for that part. And now I have an asset that is pretty low poly count. I guess I can actually reduce the geometry bit more, but I guess that for now this poly count is fine. Depending on the platform that you want to put this into, this is going to be super low res, or it actually can be high res, especially for an asset that is not going to be a hero asset. So what I mean with a hero asset is something that's going to be in the face of your player all the time. Like if you're playing on a first-person shooter, then the gun is going to be a hero asset. It is going to be right in front of your face all of the time. So people is going to start paying attention to the details. If this is a Pokeball, is something that my character is just going to have in the hand, probably you'll see it from this far away, and at that point we're going to be able to get away with a normal map. I'm going to be showing you normal maps later, but for now, see, this Pokeball here is just too small. You can even tell the details that I had in here. So again, it really depends on what is the platform that you want. Let's assume for now that this is going to be a hero asset. Now, again, a hero asset is something that is going to show a lot of details. It's going to be in front of the player most of the time. So at that point, what I want to do is add some more pretty details onto it. Notice how this is not completely sharp as I have it here. This is just pretty straightforward. This one is a little bit rounder. This one isn't. Is the lip of the button as I have over here. One thing that we need to get out of the way, and I'm gonna do another incremental save just in case. So save, increment, and save. Whenever you're doubtful, like should I just create a save? Yeah, just do it all the time. The shortcut for that is Control Shift and S. That is going to be save as. Sorry. That is going to be Control Alt S, and that is going to increment and increment the save. I haven't done anything, so that's not going to happen. So if I do move the camera, that counts as a change. So Alt, Control, and S, that is going to create a new version of the file. So I'm going to take this one in, and what I want to do is add some details. Now, once again, nothing in nature is really going to have these sharp edges. This is something like a diamond would have these kind of cuts, but nothing is going to be laser cut like that. So one neat tool that I can add here is I'm going to select all of these guys, and I'm going to go to my edit mesh bevel. So what the bevel is going to do is start refining this thing. Now my strength is a little bit too high, so I can select my fraction and make it a little bit smaller. See how this is just changing how much am I applying on the bevel. So let's say that the fraction is going to be 0.05. I hit enter. Notice that that looks more natural. Maybe 0.005. That's way too little. So, but you get to see the difference here. So let's say 0.02. That's a good enough edge. And that is gonna make it look more natural. Just by looking at it, just with this basic shading, it's going to look way better. Now, also taking account the poly count, that is going to increment it a lot. I have 40 faces versus the 6 faces that I had before. So you have to be kind of selective on when you add these things. Another thing that I didn't mention on the bevel is that you can actually do a pretty cool edge, make it super round. Like let's say that I select this edge and I'm going to apply my bevel. So edit mesh and bevel, and what I can do is increment the segments. See how it makes it super round on this side. Now you may have guessed it, this is going to create endguns, and then it is entirely up to me to clean after myself. So at that point I can do something like, well, here this is going to be a triangle and a quad, so probably I can do this cut here, that is going to be a quad, and this is going to be another, and finally this is going to be another quad and a triangle because my number was not even. So that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3. But again, this was just a quick example that I don't really care about, so I'm gonna delete this one. What I want to do that is select that on this one, as it's gonna go all the way around, creating an an edge or a bevel, it's not gonna be a big deal. I just need to be careful with the numbers. See, just by adding that without any modification, that helped a lot. Like the resolution looks way better, and it's not incrementing the count a lot. So if you have a poly limit of, I don't know, 1,000 faces, 5,000 faces, usually that means triangles. See, faces are usually going to be half of what you have in your triangle count. Not always, but usually. So another thing that I didn't mention is that if you hover your mouse over the fraction and left click, that is going to let you move it, like fine tune it. Something like this would look really, really good. I can do that in here as well. If I press G, that is going to repeat the last action. So I can do the same bevel that I had on the top. And that is just going to give it more character. See, just because of the shading, that looks way better. As you can see in my reference images, the Pokeballs are also going to be going a little bit like smooth on the border. Maya has different rendering modes. You can render directly inside of Maya. If you select a shape and press 3, that is going to make it look rounder, right? That doesn't look like a Pokeball anymore because of this shape in the front. But the important part here is that it looks smoother on the side. If you are rendering within Maya, this is totally acceptable. This is showing you what it would look like if you were applying a subdivision surface to it. That's more complicated topic that I'm not gonna get into right now, but think that you're smoothing the shape, you're incrementing the count. Actually, take a look at the count, how it went up, like crazy up. So I'm gonna select the object and press 1. That was just a preview. If I go to my mesh smooth, that is going to actually increment the count. It is not gonna be as high as the other one because that was only one level. But if I say 2, the poly count gets closer to what it was before over there. And it looks that same way. I don't like doing that subdivision because you basically throw this out the window. So not super happy with that result. And actually, even if it looks smooth like this is not what you're gonna see in a game engine. What you're gonna see, even if you see this object like that, is this square one. So you really wanna work with your details here. And at the same time try to balance and maintain a low polygonal count. So here it seems that I have everything that I needed. Probably I can play with this edge, so from here to here, and do a bevel. So mesh tool, edit mesh, and bevel. That is going to make it look better here on the border, but take a look at what it did on my corners. So probably a lesser value, 0.2. Seems fine. Let's do a 0.3, just try it a little bit more. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that brings it more interesting defining result here, but this corner sucks, especially because this one here is an N-gun. So I can select these vertices. Remember, I'm in selection based on camera, so I'm safe. And I'm gonna go to my merge to center, so that is going to reduce that into a quad. A couple of triangles, and I'm almost done with my model, so at this point it's fine if I just work with that. I'm going to press G so I can repeat the last action. Yeah, so take a look at that bevel. That looks way better than what this edge is looking down here. This is super unnatural, so I'm just going to do the 4 bevels at once. But I'm gonna work smarter, and what I will do here is I'm going to undo these changes, and what I will do is work with asymmetry on my object. So I'm gonna do asymmetry on X, so that is gonna go, if I select this edge, both sides, so I'm gonna select from here to here. What happens to one side is going to happen to the other. I'm going to go to my edit mesh and bevel. The bevel is 0.2 if I remember correctly. Then what I want to do is select these vertices, just these guys, and then mesh tools, edit mesh, merge to center. So I have those, and I'm going to do the same over here. Just with that, I saved have my time, so I don't have to do it on the other side, and I'm going to do that on here. So I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to go all the way here. Then I'm going to also introduce a bevel, so mesh tools, sorry, edit mesh, bevel, and I'm going to say also 0.2. I'm going to select these by vertex, so I'm going to do that in here, and I'm going to say edit mesh, merge to center, and over here going to do the same thing, and there you go. That is a better looking Pokeball. I'm still within my poly count limit. I wanted to make these below 5,000, so probably I'm way below my limit, but this is a great way of adding more detail onto the Pokeball. If I wanted to do that selection here on the edge, that is also going to set mesh bevel. It's going to make it look a little bit rounder. I need to be extra careful with angles that might result in. So I'm just gonna keep it like that for now, and then I'm gonna clean it up. But yeah, this indentation over here gives it a little bit more character. So yeah, once again, I have a couple of engines here that I want to clean up. So vertex, select all of these guys, and mesh tool, merge to center. That's going to happen on the other side as well, and I'm going to do that here. So 1100 triangles for this shape is not terrible. If this was going to be running on a mobile, probably way too much, but look at the Pokeball, it looks really nice. And now what we're going to be doing on the next video is a quick recap of all of the things that I did up to this point. I'm not going to be explaining a lot of what's happening. Before I leave, I'm going to just rename these SM Pokeball, as in static geometry Pokeball, and I'm going to delete the history of this object, make sure that I don't have any transformations applied. So this is a perfectly good point to stop. But the next video is going to show you everything from scratch. I'm just going to redo the whole thing in a single run. I'm not going to be talking a lot in that video because all of the tools were explained in here. So I'll see you next time.